Hi everyone, in this video we are going to code and style the features section of our website. So this is exactly where we left off in our previous video. We completed the header and then we completed the showcase. The next section is the features section of our website. So in here we have a title and then we have 3 cards. Now, without further ado, let's jump into coding. Now, what I want to do here on all of our images is apply another attribute. So this is an image that we have inserted. This is another image that we have inserted. But because this is a background image, this is VG. If we take a look at that, so if I come right here, this is a background image, so I'm not going to apply it on that. Only on inline images. Inline images are the kind of images that are inserted within the HTML. Now, when you open up any website, and let's say it's a gallery website, there's a lot of images on that website. And when you just go ahead and search for that website and you open it up, what happens by default is that all the images, they're going to be fetched from the database, they're going to be shown on the screen, which is going to consume a lot of data, and it is going to take a little bit longer if the website performance is not that high. So what we want to do is that we want to enable the user to only see images where the user is actually located. So if the user is viewing the hero section of our website, only the hero images will be shown, and as the user scrolls down, other images that are going to be fetched from the database, they're going to be shown. So in this case, we improve on the performance of our website. So there is it used to be very complicated with JS, but now it has become another HTML attribute. So the attribute name is going to be this is actually called lazy loading. It means that the images, they're only loaded if the user scrolls down, if the user goes to that specific section of the website. Otherwise, they will not be shown, and thus the website is going to be faster and it's not going to take a long time for the website to load. So the name of the attribute is loading, and the value for the attribute is going to be lazy. So this is what we are going to do for all of our inline images, all the images that are within our HTML. So this hero section, this is done. Let's collapse it and let's jump into the features section. So within the features section, we have a title, and I'm going to call that title. Now that is going to be an H2. Now here is the where we are going to use our utility classes that we have built. We have created in our CSS in the towards the beginning of this project. So here we created these utility classes: section padding, section title before element, the span element, the para, sublink, and then span and anchor. This icon, and then hover effects on the link and on the icon. So we have already created those. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a section _ padding class to this features section. I'm going to get rid of this H2, and right away the styles, they're going to be applied. So if I come here, there is some padding. We can't see it because there is no content, of course. So if I select this, you can see on the features, what do we have? So if I come here, you can see this padding is already being applied on this features section because we have added the class. So utility classes, what they mean is that as soon as you add the name for that class, all the styles, they will be applied on that specific HTML element. So let's move on. We have an H2, and the H2 is going to have a unique class of features title, and it is going to have a section title class as well. Within here, I'm going to have a span element. So this is going to be span element. It is going to say clean and simple design. There we go. So this is going to be written within the span, and outside of the span, we are going to say comes with everything you need to get started. So let me just read it. Clean and simple design comes with everything you need to get started. So let's save that. Let's come back into our web page. And you can see that even though we have just inserted the HTML, it already received styles because these are the utility classes, as I explained earlier. So now that that is done, let's jump into, okay, where is that element? So section title, let me just take a look at our CSS first. So we have a title before element, gradient primary. This is, let's just comment this one. Let me take a look at that within our, so this is the, okay, so I think the colors, even though the color of this one is different, I think I have the wrong gradient for, no I don't, let me just take a look at this again. So we have background image var color gradient primary. This is cool. So let me say background color white, and let's comment out this part. Let's save that. Now we can see it is white. Okay. Let me just inspect this for a sec very quickly. Let's take a look at that. So here is the before element. Okay, so it says var gradient primary. Let's go to computed, background image, none. So for some reason, I think we have made a mistake in this gradient color code. So if I just right click and go there, it says to write linear gradient, to write RGB 0%, 50%, 100%. So we have left a percentage sign there. Now you can see, now we have our before element. So you can see, even though with just 1% sign, we messed everything up. So here we have, let me take a look at our code. Okay, so we don't have any paragraphs. I'm not going to create any paragraph in here in HTML. We're just going to jump into cards. So what do we have? We are going to have feature cards. How many cards? We are going to have 3 cards. First, we need to create the container for the cards. So it's going to be features -- container. No, sorry. This is going to be features _ cards. There we go. So we are going to have 3 cards. Card, this is going to be card 1. I'm going to create the card 1, and then we are going to copy paste that for the rest of them. So if I come here, now we are going to have a few elements. We have that image, that rounded triangle. For the background, we have another one on top, and then we have an icon. So far we have 3 things right there. We have a title, we have a paragraph, we have an anchor element, and this guy right here, this is, I think this is an icon. So we could take a look at that as well. Yep, features card, let's go inside that. Yeah, that is a span element. And within there, yes, so it is actually an icon. So we need to insert all of these, and then we're going to copy paste that for the rest of the cards. So for card 1, I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to say features _ cards -- card -1. So this is the unique class. Now all of them, they're going to have the same styling, but in case you want one of them to stand out from the others, you could use them with their unique classes. And then this is going to be the shared class. So this is going to be features _ card, because all of them, they're going to have the same kind of styling. There we go. Let's insert our icons. And for this one, I'm going to grab this entire thing. I'm going to create a div. Let's give it a class of everything. So we are going to have card 1. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click there, _ icons. Except for this one, we are going to have double dashes. There we go. So where are our icons? They're within the images folder. So I'm going to say images. Now keep in mind, we need to provide that lazy loading as well. But first, let's go ahead and let's import our images. They're within the features. Now we have a main shape, that is the one that is behind the faded blue one. That is the main shape. So I'm just going to say triangle with rounded corners. This is for accessibility purposes. And let's insert that loading lazy as well. So loading is equal to lazy. Let's save that. So this is the first image. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come down here, paste that back in. So that was the main shape. We also have shape 1. This is for card 1. But the actual alt is going to be the same. And for this one, this is actually an icon. And the class for this one is going to be fa-solid. And the other class is going to be fa-crop. Let's save that. Let's take a look at our changes. Let me bring this down. There we go. So we have this main shape. This is the one in front of it. And this is the icon. We are going to make them like this in CSS in just a few minutes. So this part is done. Let's move on to the title. So I'm going to say title. And in the title, I'm going to grab these classes. You know what? I'm going to grab this class and we are going to change that. So the title for this one is going to be NH3. And let's save that. The class is going to be this, except we are going to change the icons with title. Cool. Now, what is it going to say? The first one is going to say clean, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then we have our paragraph. Let's save everything. Let's come to para. And this is going to be a paragraph. We are going to give it a class of this. Instead of icons, we are going to say para. Cool. So the para is also done. Let's do lorem, I don't know, like 10, 15. I think that is cool. That is enough. Maybe like a couple of words, a few words less. Very good. Let's move on to our links. So after that, what is remaining? So we have created that, created the clean, the paragraph. The only thing is going to be the links. So for the link, we are going to have an anchor element. The href is not going to go anywhere. It's going to have a class of this, which we are going to change to link. And I'm also going to give this a class of section sublink. As you can see, this styling, the styling for this link, it resembles the styling that we have here. And if we take a look at these, if I just right click and if I go there, you can see that all of them, they inherit from this utility class that we have created. So I'm going to give this link that class as well. So it is section __ sub dash link. I think that is going to be correct. So where is our link? Oh, we have not created any kind of content. So what do we want to provide within here? Now there's going to be a span element that is going to say learn more. This is going to be the span. The reason that we're using span is because they're inline level elements. That's why. So the icon is going to be fa-solid and the other class is going to be fa-angle-right. Let's save that. We should be able to see. Okay, we don't see that. Maybe it is because of the color. Okay, where is the link? Okay, come on, buddy, where are you? Head, not there. Let's go to body. Let's grab these. So this is the para. This is the anchor element. It's right there. And the color sublink. What is wrong here? Why can't I see the link? So this is where this ends. This element, we don't have any errors. Let me check this color tertiary And color, this is the, oh, the color is the same as the color for the background. So that is what throws us off. Okay, let me come down here to our hero section. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this background color and this height so we can see our stuff. Cool, there we go. So that is the learn more. And the anchor, the icon should be there. We're gonna inspect that later. So let's move on. If a solid, okay, there we go. That is the issue. Angle right. And I still don't see that. Should be there. So span. Where are you, buddy? Is it on the top? I don't see that. Top 20% position. Oh, we need to style that, so don't worry about it. So far what we have done is we have created the first card. It took a little bit longer than I expected it, because I'm actually trying to explain a lot of things here. So this is going to be card 2. For card 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all the 1s and I'm going to convert them to 2, and that is going to basically do the trick. And let's see. What else do we have here? So this one says clean. The other one says, let's go up, robust. And the third one is going to say powerful. So this is going to say robust. Okay. I think the rest of them, they're going to be the same, except for this image, which we have changed this icon. This is going to be different. That's going to be a gear icon. So FA GEAR. So FA solid, FA gear. Save that. Let's take a look at our changes. There we go. So now this is robust. Let's move on to our third card, and I'm going to collapse card number 2. I'm going to grab this, copy it, and put it right down here. Let's say 2. Let's grab all the 2s and convert them to 3. The third card, that is going to say powerful. And the icon for the third card, that is going to be lightning, that bolt of lightning. So it is FA solid, FA bolt dash LIGHT light. Where am I looking? Ning. There we go. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. There we go. So all of our 3 icons, 3 cards, all of them are right here. And I think we are done with this section with the, okay. We're actually done with the HTML for this section. I'm out of focus for some reason. So let's go ahead and jump into CSS, and let's just, I'm going to try to do it better than HTML. So what do we have in CSS? First off, we need to actually take a look at our website, what it is that we are trying to create. So in here, we can see that we are going to have 2 different containers. The first one is the title, and the second one is actually the 3 cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use display flex. We're going to say flex direction column, and for these ones we are going to use grid because we want them to be responsive without the use of media queries. We are going to use media queries, but they're not going to be dependent on media queries that much. So within the features, let's go ahead and let's say display flex and flex direction column. So title is on the top and the cards are going to be on the bottom. Their distance is going to be 5 rem. Now I'm going to grab the features underscore title, and let's save that. Now there is something that I need to show you here, and that is, let me see, actually the thing that I wanted to show you was that when you scroll this title, because it has a position of relative right here, because that is what we have specified within the title, position of relative. Sometimes when I created the actual website, what happened was I provided a z index of -10 because this, for some reason, it kept coming on top of the header, even though the header had a higher z index. So I could show that to you as well. So this is the feature section. This is the title. So if I come here, where is the Z index? Oh, oops, this is our website. This is the website, the completed website. So I'm going to show that to you. Now that's features. Let's grab the title. There we go. So originally what I did was I added Z index of -1. Because when I did not add that, the title, it kept coming on top of the header, but it doesn't do that. But when I was creating it, it did do that. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to leave that style there. And in case your title, it acts buggy, what you're going to do is you're just going to say -1. And that is the only thing you're going to do. You're not going to do anything else. Because all the other styles, they're coming from that section title utility class that we have created. Now, as far as this element is concerned, the pseudo element, I want it to be in the center. So I'm going to say features __ title. This is the before pseudo element. We are going to say from the left, go towards the right by 50%. Now, if I save it, what happens here is that this left edge or corner of this element, pseudo element, is exactly in between, in the middle of this text. But what I want is I want the middle of the pseudo element to be in between or in the middle of this text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform it along the x-axis by 50%. So I'm translating the actual element by 50%. So the middle part of this element aligns with the middle part of the text. This is a trick, actually. Let's grab our cards. We are going to say features, cards. We are going to use grid here, that min-max. So display, okay, let's say display grid, grid template columns. We are going to say repeat. Autofill as many columns as you deem necessary. Okay, so it is auto-fill, and we are going to say min-max function. So the minimum size I want it to be 30 rem, and the maximum size I want it to be 1 rem. So when there aren't 3 cards in one line, if there are 2 cards, they're going to span to take up 50% of the width. If there is just 1 card, it is going to span to take the entire space. For this one, for the gap, we're going to use a calc function. So the minimum gap is going to be 1 rem. It's never going to go below that. And the maximum is going to be 1 rem plus 2 VW. Let's save that. There we go. So this is the design. Don't worry about these images and icons. We are going to get to them very, very quickly. So let's grab the features __ card. This is each individual card. We are going to say display flex, flex direction, flex direction column. Keep in mind that those images, they do have a container of themselves. So those images, the 2 images and the icon, they're not being affected by this flex context that we are initiating because they're children of the flex items. So they're not being affected by it. Align item center, which works horizontally, and the gap is going to be 2 rem. There we go. Now let's save this. Let's take a look at what we have done here. So you can see that these 3, they're still horizontal because they do have another container. Now what I want to do is I want to style these cards a little bit more. So I'm going to provide them with some padding, 6 rem on top and bottom, 3 rem left and right. But I'm going to talk about box shadow. Now box shadow is going to provide shadows for CSS boxes. The first value is going to provide shadow horizontally, which is the horizontal offset. The second value is going to provide shadow vertically, which means the vertical offset. The third value is going to say that is going to be the blur radius, how blurry you want your shadow to be. The higher the value, the more particles there are going to be within that shadow. The lower the value, the more solid that shadow is going to look like. So if you don't provide any shadow, the shadow is going to be exactly like the shape it is supposed to represent. But that is not something that we want. We usually want to provide some sort of blur radius so it blurs out and it looks better, like this one. So these cards, as you can see, they do have a box shadow. That's why they are supposed to give us this depth feeling. So the value for horizontal offset is going to be 0. For the vertical offset is going to be 5 pixels. The blur radius is going to be 30 pixels. And there is a fourth value, that is the spread radius. How far you want your shadow to spread. I don't want it to spread at all. And the color is going to be 167, 167, 167. And the alpha challenge is going to be 0.16. Border radius for this project is going to be 1 rem or 10 pixels, and I'm going to give them a border, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain this trick for you as well, and I'm going to give it a color of transparent. Now, here are our cards. You can see that they do have a shadow. Now, why did I provide the border with a color of transparent? It means that these cards, they do have a border, but their color is transparent, so you don't see them. Now, what I want to do is, the reason that I've done that is because when I hover on them, I want the border to be shown. Now, oftentimes what happens when you have declared box sizing to border box, this is just a little bit of technicality. When you said box sizing to border box, what happens, that border is included, as well as the padding, they're included within the width of the actual content. So if you don't create that, where am I? I'm right here. Okay, so let me come down here. There we go. So if you don't create the border for the actual element, and if you just create this border within the hover effect, it means that you're providing 1 pixel on the right, 1 pixel on the left. That is 2 pixels of width, extra width, and 2 pixels of extra height for your actual content, for an actual CSS box. So when you hover on it, it would seem like the box is trying to stretch, because the content, it has to adjust to that 2 pixels, or it may look funky, it may look weird, that it may look like shaky, like the content is trying to adjust to that 2 pixels of width and 2 pixels of height that you're trying to add on hover. But what happens in this case is that it does have that border. The color is transparent. It doesn't really matter. It could be any color. I mean, but the border is there. So what I'm going to do in the hover is I'm just going to change the color of this border. That's it. So in that case, the actual card, now this happens sometimes. The actual card is not going to like look funky, like it's not going to look weird. So let's go ahead and let's transition it, and let's move on from this topic. This is transition. What am I even doing? Okay, let's say all 0.25 seconds, and cubic Bezier is going to be 0.39, this one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab features, each individual card, and let's copy that and let's hover it. So in this case, we are not creating any more width, or we are not trying to readjust the width of the actual element. We have already created the border, and we just want to toggle the color for that border. So the color for the border is going to be tertiary 3. That's it. So this is how you can come up with this smooth kind of effect. Let's provide the hover effect. Keep in mind, whenever you're doing hover, you need to provide that fallback for mobile devices as well, because hover does not work for mobile devices. There we go. So that part is done. Now let's go ahead and let's actually style these images. And then we are going to come back and we are going to transition them like this. First, let's go ahead and let's align them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say features. Now within the card, we are going to have icons. That is the container for the images and the icons. I'm going to say display grid. I mean, what better technique than grid in order to overlap multiple elements on top of each other? So the grid is the easiest and the best way to go about that. So I'm going to say grid template columns. I'm just going to say 1FR, place items center. So they're all on top of each other. So now if I come here, now this is what we actually end up with. Now let's go ahead and let's grab that final grid that we have created. So I'm going to grab only one of them. So there is only one column, but there are actually 1, 2, 3 rows. So what we are going to do here is we are going to place all of the elements on top of each other within the first row and within the first column. So let's go ahead and let's do that. First, we have the features card icons. Now we have images there, and we have an eye element or an icon element. So I'm going to say grid column. I want it to start from the first grid column and end at the last one. And I'm going to do the same thing for the rows as well. And when I save that, now all three of them, they're overlapping on top of each other. It's so simple. Now, which one comes first is the element that you have created last in HTML. So it's like that stack data structure. The last thing that you put is going to be the first thing that is on top. It is the ideology behind the stack data structure. The same thing works in here as well. Now that we have created this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover these icons as well. So which one do we want to hover? So when I hover on this, I want this first child, which is the primary image or the main image, main shape. I want it to be rotated a little bit to the right. So just by a tad. So I'm going to say when the features, keep this in mind. So I'm going to explain this very well. So when the features card, each individual card is hovered, what do I want to do? Now keep in mind, I've used the descendant selector because what comes after the space is actually a descendant of the features card. I want the features cards icons. I want this element's image, which is the first child, to be transformed by rotating it to 25 degrees. That's it. So when the features card is hovered, it's child icons, child, which is image, which is the first child. It has to be rotated by 25 degrees. There we go. Now this rotation, it is very abrupt, and it seems as though it is coming on top, which we are going to fix. And we are going to fix this. Now, it's not being shown in the first card and in the last card, but if I zoom in, you can see as I hover on it, it comes towards the top. Now, that is not something that I want. I'm going to fix that as well. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to say features, cards, icon, image, which is the first child. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide it with a transition so it doesn't happen that abruptly or sharply, and it is going to be cubic Bezier 0.39, and then we are going to say z index -1. Very simple. So if I hover on it, you can see it is acting smoothly and it doesn't come on top. Cool. So that part is done as well. The only thing remaining here would be these icons that we need to enlarge. So let's go ahead and let's grab those. So this is the icons. These are the icons. So I'm going to say font size is going to be var. This is going to be STL large. Okay, STL large. And the color is going to be var color primary. Color primary. Let's save that. Let's take a look at them. They definitely look larger. The only thing remaining would be styling the rest of the elements. Okay. And let's style them, and we are going to take a look at that icon and why it is not being shown. So it is features card title. We have not selected. Have we selected the title? Okay, that is the card's title. There we go. So the font size for this one is going to be STMC. Modified medium customized, and the font weight is going to be 900. And let's finally grab the features para, and this one is going to be text align center. Save that. Let's come in here, save this. What is happening here? Features, title, cards. Okay, features, card, not cards. This is not S, this is not S. Save that. Everything is looking cool. For the paragraph, text align center. I think I've not added that section para, which I think I need to add it for our paragraphs. So let me click anywhere. So at the end of the class for this para, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to open this up as well. So here is the para. I'm going to halt and click there. The para is there as well. We have it here, the cursor, and finally here. And I'm going to say section dash para. Let's save that and let's take a look at our changes. There we go. So everything is looking cool. The only issue that here we have, aside from the responsiveness, is that within the link, so here is the H2, here are the cards. I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to jump into the link. And from the link, I have, for some reason, this element, it is being shown there. So position absolute, where are you, buddy? It is shown on the top, which it should not. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at these styles that we have applied. So I'm going to go to top, before, so title, section, title. Okay, no, this is the before element. Let's go to sublink. Sublink span, position relative, z-index -1. Okay, let's this one is position absolute, top 20%, right color secondary 1, transition z-index -1. Sublink span, sublink icon, sublink hover, position absolute, position relative. Okay, let's say color black so I can see where it actually is. So if I come into our web page, where is that? Black. Why can't I see it? Where is that located? So if I select this, let's bring it up. It shows me it is there. FA solid, FA angle, FA dash solid, FA angle right. Are we using the correct class within the link? FA angle right. RIGHT angle, the class is correct. And I am not sure what is happening here. Okay. Span and I element. Okay. We have a span element, sublink, section, sublink. Section, sublink. And then we have the span element there. Features card link, sublink. The span doesn't have any class, right? Oh, the issue is that okay, I just got it. So what I've done is I've set position relative, and here I've set position absolute. Now this position relative is only going to be taken as a reference point if we have declared it on a parent of any subsequent element. So for this to actually work, the span element, it has to be a parent, the parent of this anchor. This, I keep saying anchor, but what I mean is this icon. So this icon, it has to be a child of the span. But that is not the case. It is outside of it. That is why the alignment is off. So right here, I'm going to provide it within the span. And I just, okay, what did I do? Okay, let me just cut this and put it within the span and save it. And this should fix the issue. There we go. So the final one is fixed. The hover is broken for some reason. We're going to fix the hover as well. Okay, let me grab the span. Let me just copy it, remove that space. let's put the span right here, and for the first link as well. So the span has to go there. Let me save that. So all three of them now, they're showing, but still the hover effect that is missing, which it should not. Okay, so, okay, now this is the issue here. That is why the hover for the icon, it is not being shown. Now the hover for the anchor element, it is being shown, but the hover for the icon, it is not being shown. The reason for that is that when I say that when the section is hovered, I want this color to be applied. When the sublink is hovered, I want the sublink's color to change. But then when the sublink is hovered, I would want the I element to move to right -2 rem and the color to change. So this happens when the link itself is hovered, then I want the element to actually move. There we go. So when the anchor element is hovered, then the icon is going to move. That is as simple as it is. When the anchor element is hovered, then I want the I element to move and to change its color. There we go. So now everything is working perfectly fine. So with this, this part of the video has come to an end, but still there's just a couple of very tiny things that we need to consider, and that is, you can see that it goes to the next line. And we need to take a look at what kind of media queries that we are going to apply for these sections. Now, the first one that I'm going to apply is going to be for this title and for this paragraph, because this title and these paragraphs, they're going to be used. Well, actually, not this title, but this one right here. So this is the section title. It resembles the same styling as this one. It has the same styling as this one, and all of these. So instead of repeating ourselves way too many times, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a media query for these, and I'm going to provide the utility class as the media query breakpoint. So what I mean is that instead of creating all of these classes within our CSS, like saying features title, and then when we get to the about section, we are going to say about title, why title, team title. Instead of all of these, we are going to apply media queries on the section title, because all of them, they do share this title. So why not apply it? This is what you're going to see, and that is where we have applied it. Let's take a look at that. So at some point, the size of this title, this is going to become fixed. You can see it is getting very, very small, even smaller than these ones. So I should have applied it around here somewhere. And I think there is the jump. There we go. So let's take a look at the font size. And the font size is 28 pixels. If I go back, it was 27.4. So it's never going to go below 28 pixels. It doesn't matter how small I go. So the font size for this one is fixed. And then I think these styles, they're the same as well. Let me just take a look at them. So this is section para. And for these ones, what have I done? This is also section para. So these styles, they're going to be the same as well. There we go. So let's go ahead and let's implement that. I think we do have a media query at that point, at that 850. So what I'm going to do is instead of writing features title, why title, team title, I'm just going to say section title. That is going to grab all the titles where we apply that actual style. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to copy paste the comment here. I'm going to say section title. There is actually one more thing that we need to go over that as well, and I'm going to save that. This is the padding. So if I come down, if I just go ahead and decrease the width of the window, you can see this padding is way too much. So at around 870, which was the original website, but for us, for the second website that I'm coding along, this is going to be 850. You can see that the padding is going to be reduced. Now that works, that happens for the features, for the about section. why does it happen? The reason for it to happen is because we want all of our elements to be aligned perfectly well. So if I keep the mouse there, you can see all of the elements, they're aligned perfectly well. So instead of, again, creating we did the same thing for previous projects where I said features padding, then the hero padding, then the work padding, whatever padding. So instead of doing all of those, I'm just going to grab this utility class and I'm going to add the padding on this. And then I'm going to append this class to our elements, and we don't have to do anything else basically. So how much do you want to decrease the padding? I'm going to decrease the vertical padding to XLV. So that is going to be XLV. And the horizontal padding is going to be LH. Let's save that. So now if I just go ahead and keep decreasing the width of the window at around 850, there we go. You can see that the padding, it basically decreases, and we have these cards, they go from being skinny, they just go to a little bit wider, so they're better readable. There we go. We need to fix that title as well. Let me remove this space. And for the title, we are going to say section title. So any element that receives this class is going to receive the automatic media query as well. For this one, we want to fix that. The font size, we want to fix it to 28 pixels, which is 2.8 rem. Let's save that. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at that. So below that, it should be 2.8 rem. Okay, come down here. There we go. Let's bring this up. Here is the title. Let's go to compute it. There we go. It says 28 pixels. Now let's go ahead and let's actually take a look at our cards, how responsive they are. And I'm going to keep making the width of the window smaller. Let's set this to 625. Cool. Let's go ahead and keep making it smaller. There we go. So there was the other jump. Now all of them are stacking on top of each other. And we need to check it all the way up to 300. We don't have any scroll bar, horizontal scroll bar, so that is a good thing. Let's go ahead and let's keep making it, keep decreasing the width of the window. Okay, and there we go. So around 350, we can see that there is actually a scroll bar, and that is not something that I want. The reason that we see a scroll bar is because the width of these cards, the minimum width is going to be 300 pixels, but this is 352. The 52, they're being crossed by the padding for this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a little bit above. I'm going to go towards 500. Do we have that? This is 650. So around 500, I'm going to create another media query. I'm not going to do it right at the point of 350. That is very small. The reason that I'm not doing it there is because some of the other sections, they might act in the same way. And they might act in when it goes to 370 or 400 or 450. So what I want to do is I want to grab all of those quirks that are gonna arise in our website and include all of them within this media query for 500. That's why just keep in mind that you don't have to provide breakpoints at that specific point where your layout breaks. You definitely cannot provide it after your layout breaks, but you definitely can provide it before the layout breaks. That is something you can keep in mind. So this is 500 pixels. What do I want to do here? First, I want to copy this comment so I know what it is within this media query that I've created. So the first section within this media query is going to be features. I'm going to grab the features card, not card, but cards. Now this is going to be the features. Okay, features cards. Okay, this is correct. So this is the actual container for our cards in here. Now we have already set display grid. I don't need to do that again. I'm just going to change the grid template columns. I'm going to say repeat auto dash fit. and it's going to be min, still a min max function, and I'm going to change it from 30 rem to 25 rem. And this is going to be the maximum size is going to be still 1fr. And the gap, the row gap is going to be 2 rem, the column gap is going to be 0 because we don't need that. So below 500, the width of the cards, it is going to be decreased. So if we go ahead and if we try to decrease the width of the window below 350, you can see we are not ending up with that scroll bar, even though we are at the point of 300. But below 300, we are going to end up with that. I mean, who goes below 300 nowadays? There we go. So this is how it is going to work. And what I'm going to do is at around here, at this point, I think this padding is a little bit too much. So let's go ahead and let's decrease the padding for the cards, for each individual cards as well. Features card. Okay, so this is the each individual card's class. Let's put that right here. So padding top and bottom, I'm going to say 3 rem, and left and right is going to be 1.5 rem. There we go. So there is a little bit more space for the content to be shown. And there we go. You can see the jump, right? The space is being decreased. So there we go with this. Our website, not our website, of course. The features section of our website comes to an end. See you in the next video where we are going to create the about section of the website. See you then.